Hello and welcome back to the Tina Creates YouTube channel. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you a series of background techniques. This is going to be video 1 of 2. I hope you will join me for video 2 when I release it very soon, showing you the card I create using one of these backgrounds. So I hope you enjoy watching today to see how these backgrounds came out. I will be showing you what worked, what didn't work, and you will eventually find out in my next video what I ended up using on my card. So in the theme of the Card Making Magic embossing folder that you will have seen on display at the start of this video, I will be cutting up a series of cardstock pieces to 5 inches by 7 inches to start off, just so that I've got a little bit of variety in colour suiting that theme of the embossing folder. Giving them a big spray of water each time before I actually pop them into the embossing folder and running it through my manual die cut machine. What you may know by now is I do own a Silhouette Cameo, but yes, I also own a manual die cut machine because there's no way that a Silhouette Cameo can do embossing like an embossing folder does, can it? So that's why I have both options at my disposal. The cardstock that I've used today, I'll do my best to list it in the description below in the YouTube video, but some of the cardstock I know is discontinued. It's a very old white core cardstock from Kaiser Craft that's no longer available to purchase. I do have a 220 GSM black cardstock, I believe, that may have been from Craft Online under the Poppy Crafts brand. I've reached for that one for this project, and that's always been a winner when I've pulled out a black cardstock. And the other one is again a textured cardstock. I couldn't tell you where I purchased it from. Again, there is just too much to mention. But as always, find what you like, find the colors you like, find what you think will work. This is your space to get crafty and use what you've got in your stash as well. Okay, so just coming up here, you'll see these are the 3 colors that I have cut down for this background technique with the embossing fold. And they really do produce great results. I give them a really good spritz of water. If you watch any card making videos, one of the first things they'll tell you to get the best embossing effect you can in an embossing folder is to spritz it with plenty of water. Uh, this is the embossing folder by Card Making Magic, and a look at how this has come out. Look at the detail in the embossing folder and all through those peacock feathers, what you can see. There's only a little bit of discrepancy in the top left corner. It didn't emboss as solidly as the rest of it, but it came out really well. I was really happy with this. Don't mind me giving my glass mat a clean. Just making sure everything's neat and tidy. So this is panel 1. Panel 2 is this textured cardstock. The texture in the cardstock does give a really nice effect to the finished background that I create. And I'll go on again to give it a really good spritz of water, saturating it if I have to. I have a manual die cut machine that I got from the Vevor website. That's Vevor. And it can take up to A4 size. That's why I got it, because it's a much bigger machine. The other ones just felt too small for me. I think the sandwich that is used in these machines is a thick, like 3-4 mil plate plus a thin 2 mil plate. That's what I've found works best with embossing folders. They do have an example in their how-to guide when you buy the machine as well. But sometimes you have to just go with trial and error and see what plates works best, depending on the embossing folder. And this is panel 2. Again, a great result. It's such a nice embossing folder design. I really do love this one. Okay, panel 3. This part of the video will show you the panel that really didn't work too well. So please make sure you stay to the end of the video to see how that worked out. This is just some finger wax that I own, but that's step 2 of what really didn't work. Step 1 is the actual embossed panel itself. So I've given it a really good spritz of water again. I've gone and run it through my die cutting machine and embossed it. But what ends up happening is, because it's white core, it shows through the white core of the cardstock and the finish is just not desirable at all. This one ended up getting piffed and you'll see why. Seemed to absorb a lot of water as well, this cardstock. So that's where I thought, oh yeah, maybe I can savor this background by using this finger wax. Because look at the color of this finger wax. Is it cool or not? So I started to test it and I went into the container, the glass container, and I put it on my finger and tried to put it down onto the embossed page. And as I found out here is that this finger wax has dried up. Now, upon doing a lot of Googling, it does seem that after a period of time, a lot of these finger waxes do dry up. And I attempted to put some water into it to try and soften it up. Apparently as well, a lot of people sometimes add thinners to these finger waxes to try and thin them out as well. But the more I tried and the more I tried to make it work, the panel just wasn't going to be saved. So this was one put into the trash can. Okay, so this is panel 1 that I'm now going to use this little foam dauber that I have. This is actually a foam dauber that I purchased that people mostly use when they're doing their nails to apply like polish in a certain way, or powders, nail powders onto their nails. I bought a few of these quite cheap on eBay, but it works really well with these metallic gilding polishes. Uh, it it took a little bit of getting used to. Metallic gilding polishes do have their own foam daubers, but because this was the one that got broken in transit, I had to just work with what I had. And it was a bit of a messy finish, but it was still really interesting to see how it came out in the end. I'm going to pop on some music for you now, and I hope you enjoy watching the process of this background being created. And now we come to background number 3. So this is where I've used the metallic gilding polish in pure silver. And using the dauber that came with their gilding polish, I just try and get enough onto the foam dauber so that it's able to sort of brush over the embossed areas without being too heavy. And this is where it sort of takes me a few goes. And I do actually spend a lot of time on this background, just making sure that the silver covers really well. And just wait around and watch when I create the lovely border on this design as well. This one's definitely been the most effective. It certainly gave a neater finish using the dauber that came with the product, unless I was applying too much pressure onto the paper, especially being textured. But as you can see, the more that I apply the product down onto the embossed paper, the more the texture comes through, and it just gives a really nice effect. There you can see it's lovely and reflective in the light. And now here, this is where I decide, because it came up so well, to add a border to the paper. I didn't know whether I'd end up using something like that if I ended up using it on the final card, like whether I'd use a border or not. But I thought I'll just add it in anyway while I've got the gilding polish out, because it gives a sort of textured, slightly vintage finish to the card panel. As we come to the end of today's video, please don't forget to like and subscribe to my little YouTube channel in the midst of the YouTube universe. I would love if you did that. And don't forget to watch part 2. Happy crafting!